Hi, my name is Tucker Jones, and I am the GTA for the Teaching and Learning Center. One of our big responsibilities at the Teaching and Learning Center is the handling and the processing of TEVALs. Now, TEVALs are very, very important for a couple of reasons, mainly because they provide us with data about what we should continue to do, what we should stop doing, or what we should adjust doing in our classes. And it's really excellent data. Now, something to keep in mind is that all TEVALs this semester are going to be administered online. And so the goal of this video is to provide you with a quick and easy tutorial about how you can go about setting up TEVALs for your individual classes on Canvas. All right, so the very first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to your Canvas page. Now, once you're on your Canvas page, you should be able to see all of your classes here on your dashboard. You're going to go up to the icon in the top left corner of the screen under Accounts. You're going to click on that, and this is going to be very, very important. Do not click on the TEVAL link. If you click on this link, you will be unable to complete the following steps. So what you're going to need to do to set up TEVAL for your class is click on Profile, and then click on TEVAL. And it's going to bring you to this page of evaluation list for the current semester. Now, because you have yet to create a TEVAL for any of your classes, you shouldn't see anything here. Once you create your classes and everything is ready to go, then you'll be able to see which classes you have TEVALs for. And as you can see here, I haven't set up my TEVALs for my classes yet, so we will go through an example of how to do this together. So the first thing you're going to do, once you're on this screen, is go ahead and click on the new TEVAL button. Now, here you'll be able to choose which course you want to create a TEVAL for. Now, please keep in mind that you will have to create a TEVAL for every class that you are teaching. So even if you were teaching multiple sections of the same class, you will have to create a separate TEVAL for each section of that class. You cannot combine these into a single TEVAL form. Each class, each section of a class must get its own form. Also, something to keep in mind that if you are teaching a 900 level or above class, you will not have this be automatically generated. You will have to get a hold of the IT help desk or the Teaching and Learning Center to get help to create the Canvas page for you, and then you'll be able to go through and create the TEVALs for those classes. So first thing you're going to do is select course, and you're going to select the course that you want to build the TEVAL for, your first TEVAL for. So as you can see here, I am co-teaching Principles of College Teaching with Dr. Don Saucier and Ben Ward, and I'm also teaching a large lecture section of Psychology of Childhood and Adolescent Development. I want to go ahead and create the TEVAL for my Psychology of Childhood and Adolescent course, so I'll go ahead and click on that. Now, you're going to have to click on section. Even if there's only one section of the course, like you see here, you still have to select which section you are building the TEVAL for. So I'll select my Psych 280 class here. All right. And then it'll automatically generate all of this following information. Now, it should automatically create everything and fill this in for you. Even though we are currently in a remote teaching setup, you're going to want to make sure that you select on campus. Distance is going to be more appropriate for traditional online classes, anything through Global Campus, but make sure that on campus is selected. You're going to make sure that you select the days and times in which your course met before we transition to the remote setting. And you'll be able to fill out your academic rate, college and department as appropriate. It should ideally do this for you, but if you need to make any adjustments, you can do that here. For example, I am going to change academic rank from GTA to instructor. Once all that looks good, go ahead and click continue. Now it's going to bring you to the TEVAL questions that are going to be asked for the course and the section of whatever class it is that you're working on. Now keep in mind that the following 14 questions are going to be the exact same questions that are typically asked on the paper and pencil version of the TEVAL, and you cannot change these. These are going to be the default questions for every single TEVAL form. If you scroll down, you'll be able to add more customized questions. So if you're in a department that already uses a specific template for your TEVAL, so you can select that here. So for example, if I was in architecture or agricultural economics, I would select one of those options and it would bring up the template specific for those. If you're not in one of those programs, that's okay. You just don't even have to worry about that. But if you want to add custom questions, make sure that you are getting as much data as possible from your students. You could come down here to custom questions and click on add question. So we'll kind of go through an example of what this looks like together. So you can create a scale item if you like. I like having the option for my students to provide me with short answers. I really appreciate and value the narrative feedback that they provide me. So I'm going to just go ahead and show you an example of how to create that type of a question here. So instructions for students. So just put, please answer the following text. So you can go through, add as many questions as you want, and you could always come back and edit these, and I'll show you how to do that here later. So let's say that we are happy with our custom questions. We'll go ahead and click continue. All right, so here is where we're going to be able to set up our distribution calendar and the reminders for our students to be filling out the TEVALs. So again, make sure that is for the course and the section that you are working on. Now, something to keep in mind with respect to TEVALs is that you can administer your TEVALs anytime between January 2nd of this year to May 19th of this year. Now, typically we do TEVALs at the end of the semester. So I'm going ahead and set up my TEVAL date to start, let's say, we'll have this open the last Monday of April. So we still have about a week and a half before that is ready to go. So we'll have this open on April 27th, 2020. Now this should open up around 2 a.m. and it'll send out an automatically generated email. You want to make sure that when you are letting your students know in your classes to do the TEVALs, let them know to look for the email that was sent to them automatically. You cannot copy and paste and forward this email to your students. It gets generated automatically using the information in Canvas. So if they are having a hard time finding it, or if they're saying that they didn't get the email, make sure you are telling them to check their K-State email address, because that is where it's going to be going. It's going to be sent to that contact information that is available in Canvas. So once we have our start date, we'll go ahead and select our end date. If you want to have this only open for a week, that's completely up to you. Because this closes on May 19th, I'm going to go ahead and select it for the 19th. And I won't be able to see the results for these TEVALs until after the 19th, after grades have been submitted. So it doesn't really matter when I select this end date. I'm not going to be able to see what my students said until the 20th. So I'm just going to give them as much time as possible to fill this out. And so here is the message that your students will be seeing. If you want to make any adjustments, you can. So for example, when I do these online TEVALs, I like to provide my students a little extra instruction saying that they will only be able to access the link once, so they must complete the TEVALs in that same setting. So let's add something along those lines. So all right. Now we can go through and set up our reminders. So I like to provide my students with numerous reminders, especially in this online format that we're currently in, because it's really easy for things to fall through the cracks. So I have it set up on April 27th. I'm going to set up my first reminder to be sent out a week after that. So we'll have it be sent out on Monday the 4th. I'll set one to go out on Monday the 11th. And just for safe measure, on Monday the 18th. So every single Monday after this opens, my students are going to get a reminder if and only if they haven't taken the TEVAL yet. If they've taken the TEVAL form, they will not receive these automatically generated reminders. And just to make sure that they are getting the same directions, I'm going to copy and paste what I set up here down into this text box. And just because I like to kind of just double check and make sure everything's working the way that it should, I'm going to click receive a copy of this message. And so I will also be getting a copy of this message when it gets sent out on these reminder dates. Once everything looks good, you can go ahead and select continue. All right, here is going to be where you can review and make sure that everything looks the way that you want it to look. You can also go through and edit. You have the option to do so here. And you can also go through and edit when your TEVAL opens up and when the reminders are going to be sent out, as well as your custom questions. All of this information can be edited here, but it can also be edited at a later date as long as you are making any and all edits before the date you set up your TEVAL to go live. So let's say everything looks good here. I'm going to click finish. Now, very, very importantly, you must click finish. If you don't click finish, then your TEVAL won't be sent out to your students. You must select finish. So we click on that. All right, now we can do one of two things. So we can go to the evaluation list and see the different courses that we have a TEVAL set up for, or we can click on the faculty information form. We can also fill this out later. So let's start by going to the evaluation list. So this is going to be the screen that we saw when we first came to this page. And now we can see that the course, the TEVAL for this specific class is ready to go. We can make edits, we can preview it, and we could also fill out this FIF form or faculty information form. So let's take a minute and click on this and look at this in a little bit more detail. Now, the faculty information form, this is something that you can fill out optionally. You don't have to fill this out, but I strongly recommend that you do, because this is a way for you to create a record for this class and for you to provide some context for the specific TEVAL. So we can describe this class as a lecture. I thought this class was about the right size. It wasn't too big, it wasn't too small. The physical facilities, you can go through and you can fill out all this information for you to provide your ratings of that classroom experience for you and your students. And one reason why I think this is especially important to do this semester is when you come down here to comments, on your faculty information form, you can say that this was the semester that we had the COVID-19 pandemic, things went remotely. So this is an opportunity for you to provide that context for the specific situation that we are in, so that when you go back and look at your TEVALs later, you will kind of be reminded that, you know, this wasn't really the ideal semester, and this is what my students had to say with respect to the situation that we are all currently facing. So I strongly, again, recommend that you fill out this faculty information form. All right, going back a step. So here we can go through, if you click edit, it's going to take you through the process and you can edit any and all sections of that form, as long as you have not passed this availability date that you indicated here. And you can also preview to see what this is going to look like for your students. So once you click on preview, this is exactly the format that your students are going to see. And again, you cannot copy and paste this link and email to your students. If you do that, it will not work. Your students are each going to get an automatically generated link that is going to bring them to this page. They'll click start. This is going to be them rating those 14 items that we see in the paper and pencil format. This is going to be the portion where they are going to be responding to your custom questions. And this is going to be where they can leave some additional comments. So there is still going to be the opportunity for your students to leave any additional comments that they may have. That is automatically generated, and they will have considerable space to do so, 4,000 characters. And click close preview. All right, so if you have any additional questions or concerns about the TEVAL form, you could email us at the Teaching Learning Center. We'll be happy to help you with this. You could give us a call, but you can also come up here and click on this help link. And when you do, it's going to bring you to a bunch of different resources offered through the IT help desk. And so if you have questions about how to add custom questions, if you have questions about adding the TEVAL app to your K-State Canvas course, or copying custom questions, or any issues you might have, This is going to be a tremendous resource. If you are confused about what this looks like, or if you still have additional questions, please call us at the Teaching and Learning Center, and our staff will be happy to help you in any way we can. Hopefully this video was of use and you were able to see just how easy it is for you to create your course, the TEVAL for your course here in Canvas. Again, if you have any questions, we'd be happy to help. My name is Tucker Jones. I teach at K-State, and we'll see you soon.